Shalom, shalom, it's the brother Kadash. Want to start off by giving our praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rekakadash. Because that's where our strength lies at. That's what gives us the advantage. You know what I mean? That's where our power's at. Apply the scriptures. When you get in situations, apply the scriptures. Apply the knowledge, the wisdom that you get from the scriptures. Don't just know something but don't know how to apply it. What's even bigger than having knowledge, knowing how to, well, which goes back still to knowledge is a full circle, but applying knowledge, right? What's the point of having it? What's the point of knowing the right thing to do if you don't make the right decision when the time comes? You know what I mean? This is going to be about a start over. That's why I'm going to name it, because that's what we need. We need a start over. I mean, Esau, they got so far with this shit, man. He didn't develop his technology so much, man. Our people so wicked, man, so influenced, man. He has all these checks and balances in place to keep us at the bottom that, it's going to have to be a restart or a start over, and that's what the Bible was talking about. That's what the prophecies all lead up to when the Lord comes back, his second coming, which leads to what? Fire and brimstone. It's called the second death, right, of the earth, because there's going to be a restart, and that's the only way we going to get back in the position as a nation of priests and kings that we supposed to be. Like right now we pushing the gospel, we doing our part, whatever the Lord put on our spirit to do, we doing that to do what? To bid them to the marriage, right? Like it says, we doing the best we can. Some people got bigger roles than some brothers, you know what I mean? But you doing what the Lord gave you to do, you know what I mean? But we not going to get in the kingdom per se on this side. There's going to have to be a restart button that's going to be pushed, an end, and then to follow that is going to be the kingdom. So this is Revelations 21. I want to start at verse 1. It says, "And I saw a new heaven and new earth, for the first heaven and first earth was passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband." So what it's saying is, it's like a new heaven and new earth don't mean necessarily that the earth is going to be completely evaporated or something like that, and then a new earth is going to be made. It's more in the terms of renew. So it's going to be a new rulership on earth, right? So you have the rulership right now on earth, that's going to be completely wiped out, and then you're going to have a new rulership, and then that's when our kingdom starts. And that's why John said, he said, look, John the Baptist, no, not John the Baptist, John the Revelator, they call him, say he's seen a holy city, New Jerusalem. But it's not like a new Israelites or something like that. It's the same Israelites, they just being renewed, right? Because they're going to be taken up, right, in the blink of an eye to be with the Lord, and then they're going to come back down to inherit the earth, and that's inheriting the kingdom and paradise, and that's what we got to prepare for, right? And that's why we playing our roles, like I said, to bid them to this marriage right here, because it says prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. So we out there just lifting our voices out loud, sparing not, playing our parts, right? We just little fish in a big sea, and we just coming together to play our parts until, the Lord comes back, and then we could go in that marriage with him. You see what I'm saying? It says, "I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle is God is with men." But what men? It says New Jerusalem, that goes back to Israel, right? It says, he would dwell with them, and they should be his people, and God himself should be with them and be their God. And God shall wipe away all the tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow or crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. Because this system, Esau's system, brings pain. They got people living off money, off paper. People competing, fighting, killing, risking their life over paper, because it's a man-made system that they made. You got to make money in order to pay your bills, in order to feed yourself, when all that stuff naturally comes from the earth. You have poverty. You have people richer than other people. You have competition, right? And you have hatred that comes from that, envy that comes from that. You have a lot of thieving, theft going on, a lot of murder, a lot of adultery going on because your girl was at a bar and a dude that got way more money than you decided to ask her to come back to a hotel room, and she decided to go because it was Chris Brown. You see, causing all this adultery and shit because this system is wicked, and that's why it has to be destroyed. And the wicked that's in rulership that created this system has to be destroyed with it, man. And let's keep going. This is verse 5. And he sat upon the throne. So he's coming back to take over the earth, right? Said, behold, I will make all things new. And he said unto me, write, for these words are true and faithful. Says, and he said unto me, it is done. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give it to him that is athirst of the fountain of water of life freely, because he's going to be the king and his people. So it's a kingdom for him. He's the head of it, Yahweh Shai, and then his people. You know what I mean? But he said he's gonna make all things new. So what's a cleaning agent? Well, we know water is a cleaning. You could clean things using water, but you also could clean things using fire. And that's where the second death is gonna come in. That is fire and brimstone. Now that's gonna come by the way of nuclear missiles, because you have a thing called World War III that's gonna happen. You're gonna have these nations that's gonna shoot missiles on each other. But then at the same time, you can have asteroids that come out the sky and cause big damage, and that's basically the same thing as a nuclear missile. Really ain't no difference. You could have volcanoes that's gonna erupt. Yellowstone is due to go any day, and we've been seeing some volcanoes on some islands that's been causing a lot of destruction. You know, you could have a lot of different things that could happen, right? You got the mark of the beast that's coming. You know, and the great thing about that is, and you might think it's crazy to say the great thing about the mark of the beast, well, everything is controlled by the Lord, and everything is the Lord of the plan. So the mark of the beast, when the beast comes out with that technology, they still got it from the Lord, because everything comes back. It's all the Lord's plan. He controls good and he controls evil. What's that? Isaiah chapter 5, I believe. Isaiah chapter 5, or matter of fact, Isaiah chapter 45. Matter of fact, let's go to it. Let's pull it up so we don't miss it. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 5 first. It's Isaiah 45. Isaiah 5, I believe, is woe to him that... Maybe I got him backwards. Let's go to 45. Right. Verse 7, it says, I form the light and create darkness. It said, I form the light and create darkness. Now watch this. Just in case you still think like, well, when he say darkness, he don't mean that. He talking about light when you turn the lights off and it gets dark. Let's see what he means. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. That never changes, right? So the mark of the beast is still a technology that the Lord is using to separate his elect, who's going to follow him, who's not. And the great thing about it is it does exactly that. It's going to stop you dudes and women and people from riding the fence. We're going to see who really is for the Lord and the truth of the Lord, that's not ashamed of the Lord. You get a lot of these so-called Christians, Catholics, they get in the church, but they really ashamed of the Lord and they want to change up the truth to a lie. Matter of fact, let's pull out a precept about that. They want to change the truth to a lie to make them feel good, when it's right here in the Bible. All you got to do is read it, right? You know, and then a lot of times what people don't know, like, you may be a sincere person going to church, and you may be a sincere person following the church. You may get in different positions in the church, but you don't really understand the things that go on behind the church. So in order for churches to get funding, you could go to a bank and get like a traditional loan. And this just came out, at least from what I've seen, you know, to me. But they have funding, banks have funding, like Christian churches have funding where they will fund other churches with millions of dollars. But this the kicker though. The kicker is your teachings have to align with their teachings. So if they say Mary was a virgin, you have to say Mary is a virgin to get those millions of dollars. So those are the things that's going on behind the scene. If they say that Jesus is white and that's his name, You have to profess that name and say that he was a so-called white man in order to get that funding. The dudes that's running this, that's ahead of the funding department, they know this. These are things that's not going to be disclosed to you, and this is why they teach the stuff they teach, which is still following the devil. But back to the mark of the beast, right? Because it's going to be temptation that's going to come. You either going to take the beast, everything you learn, everything you believe, everything you taught, everything you was taught, and everything you teach. Is it going to lead to you taking the mark of the beast when it comes? Or it's going to lead to you denying the mark of the beast? So we finna see who the elect is. We going to see who really true followers of the Lord. When if you don't take this mark of the beast, you can't buy. You can't sell. You can't eat. You can't get food. You can't get water. You got to go out there and live in the woods. You got to retreat to the wilderness. You can't get electricity and the luxuries of life. You're going to be totally outcast from society if you don't take this. So who's going to choose that over having all those things and taking the mark of the beast? Who's really going to choose to follow the Lord over following men? You know? But after that, then going to come the great reset. We going to have a start over. But it's going to be for those ones who chose to follow the Lord over following man and the riches of the earth and the things that man created. That's the great test. That's the temptation right there. This is Romans 1. Verse 22, professing themselves, no, verse 21, because that when they knew God, they glorify him not as God. They ashamed of God. If God say a man can have multiple wives, they ashamed of that. No, that's not my God. That's not my, if God say you can't celebrate Christmas, Halloween, and Easter, no, that's not my God. Because they ashamed of the truth of God. Now watch this. Neither were thankful, but became vain in their own imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Because their heart become darkened because they become vain in their own imaginations. Then they say they believe in God, but they don't want to follow what God said. So they start making up shit and say that God said it. Just like man laying with mankind. Well, all throughout the Bible, it's clear if you read the Bible if you ate the whole row and you read it from the Genesis to Revelations, you know God is against man laying with man. But you got men that do lay with men that say they love God and then say God loved them. And then they start making up things. It's complete foolish. That's why it says in their foolishness, heart was darkened. And watch this. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fool. Because what did it say in Romans 3? How do you know that you're wise? As it is written. If you go based off as it is written, right? It says, as changed the glory of the incorruptible God into an image. So that's why we ain't just coming from our heart or our mind or what we think. We reading the precepts. I'm reading out the Bible. You could go look this up yourself. Romans chapter 1, just start at verse 21 to get straight to the point, right? It says, now who changed the uncorruptible God into an image, made him corrupt and made like to corruptible man, into birds and 4-foot beasts and creeping things. They start worshiping those things, right? Wherefore God also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves. Now watch this, because this is a curse that's being put on man for being wicked. Now watch this. Who changed the truth of God into a lie? That's what we asking. Wait, King David had multiple wives. Wait, Jacob, the Lord literally chose him to be the forefather of the nation of Israel, which was created. The 12 tribes come from 12 brothers that was literally created from a man having 4 wives. And this was ordained by God. It says, so who changed, but I ain't get into that. That's just a good topic, right? It says, who changed the truth of God into a lie? And worship and serve the creature more than the creator. And that's the reason why they change it. Because they want to sound good to the creature rather than standing up for the creator. We look like the bad guys because we say fuck that. Fuck people feelings. Fuck the creature. We gonna follow what the creator said. Who is blessed forever. Amen. It says, for this cause God gave them up to vile affections. Even their woman did change the natural use into that which is against nature. And likewise also the man, leaving the natural use of a woman, burned in lust one towards another, man with man, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error, which was meat. As it says. Because watch this. Even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, they didn't want to retain the truth of God, the knowledge of the Bible, what food you can eat, the dietary law. Can we eat meat or not? Well, the Bible says we can. That's the knowledge of God. When you start saying that we're not supposed to be eating meat, you're not retaining the knowledge of God. It says God gave them over to a reprobate mind, and then that's when God give you over to a reprobate mind to do those things. And it literally says that to do those things which are not convenient. Not eating no meat is not convenient. God gave you over to that because you're not following the knowledge of God. Man being with one woman for the rest of his life. When the Lord created a man, women only could get pregnant every 10 months. Probably even longer than that if you talk about, having a hill and stuff underneath. But a man could go out and get 100 women pregnant in 1 month. Nature is the Lord created you. He's telling you that. So when we came over to America through slavery and we started following the American ways, the heathen, and they created these systems in order to break our families down so they could oppress us and take our resources and have power over us, which they have to this day. They said, look, one man, they start promoting the wedding ring, the wedding dress, one man with one woman. That breaks down the family. That makes the family weaker. It was not convenient. We should have kept the knowledge of our ancestors that had multiple wives and the knowledge that the Lord gave us, because that builds what builds a nation strong? The families of the nations. Now you got a man that, because there's more women than man, so some women ain't gonna never get a husband. Now you got a man that got to choose between two women he loved. Now he got to let her go, break her heart. She go out there be a harlot because he chose this girl. I mean, it's just the truth of God. And then it gets so far now that you broke her heart, she don't even want to deal with man no more. So now she going out there dealing with women, like it just said here. And then you got man dealing with man. It's all confusion, right? Let me leave you with this one right here. This is to let you know who's in power and who's about to be in power when we have this restart, a start over, right? Let me see if I can find it. Right, this is 2nd Esdras chapter 6. This is verse 9. Well, let's get a little back. Let's start at verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that follow? So the end of the first about to come. We in end times right now. And then there's going to be a beginning. Because this is the time of the Gentiles. The time of the heathen that's in rulerships. You see these different nations, these heathen nations that are in rulership. Because this is their kingdom and this is their time. But watch this. So we asking the same question. When is going to be the end of that? In the beginning. Watch this, verse 8. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob hand held first the heel of Esau. Now, what does that symbolize? Jacob hand holding the heel of his brother Esau, because they were twins in the womb, right? Well, it symbolized Esau came out first. He was the older brother. So it symbolized that he would get to rule the earth first. Esau's the so-called white man. He's ruling the earth right now because he's in his kingdom, because that was to fulfill prophecy. But Jacob holding his heel means that what? Jacob will be in rulership right after Esau, because your heel is at the end of your body. So start off, you come out with the head, and now he's at the heel. So it's symbolizing when he's going down. I made a video about this. We're going up. When the white man, so-called white man, go down, the so-called black man going up. He's going down. He's at the end of his kingdom. It's finna end in destruction. And then the so-called black man, which are the Israelites, is going to begin their rule over the earth. And the earth is going to love it when we're ruling over the earth, because we're the natural kings of the earth. And we have something called laws, statutes, and commandments that we're going to govern the earth with. And it's going to make it better for everybody. Even the air is going to be cleaner. The food's going to be cleaner. The water is going to be cleaner. The people are going to be healthier. Yeah, the kings are coming back, and y'all going to love it. Y'all going to fight. Y'all going to hate it for a little bit, but y'all going to love it. Because the wicked and rulership the earth more, and it tells you that in the Bible. I believe that's book Job, maybe, or Proverbs. When the wicked are in rulership, the earth more, but when the righteous are in rulership, roughly paraphrasing, the earth rejoices. Now it says, Jacob, verse 9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So it's telling you, Esau is going to be ruling at the end of the world, because the Romans were Edomites. And America is just Rome all over again. That deadly wound was healed, and they came back under a different name, many different names, and they're in rulership today. But then it's saying Jacob is the beginning of a follow, which y'all know deep in y'all spirit that the so-called black man, Latino man, the colored man is going to get back in rulership of the earth one day. And that's what they're afraid of, because then we will be in, that'll be our kingdom. And it's coming very soon. We just have to have a start over. With that, I'm going to say salvation to the elect. Shalom.